Your project proposal does the very important work of planning and describing your topic and what you will produce for assignments 4, 5, and 6. A good proposal will save you tons of work on the remaining assignments, as long as you choose a topic that will work. That's the trick to this one. Proposals are one of the most common documents produced in the workplace. You've probably floated a few proposals past people by email. A proposal is simply a document that asks permission of someone with the authority to grant that permission to do something. You may realize that you've made a few proposals to parents or teachers in the past when you wanted to do something and thought they might not approve. And you did use rhetorical strategies to do so, whether you wanted to extend your bedtime or get a teacher to write you a recommendation letter. Every proposal keeps the values of its audience in mind, as writers provide logical reasons for the permission they seek, and also try to reassure the reader that they are worthy of that permission. Therefore, every proposal has to answer 3 basic questions the reader will have in mind. 1. What do you want to do? 2. Why is it a worthwhile thing to do? What are its benefits and for whom? 3. How are you planning to get it done? Proposal writers don't list these questions and write answers under them, however. They're rhetorically subtle but clear about what they want to do, why, and how. The sections required for your proposal document, if you complete them correctly, will answer those questions. And remember this important tip. Your reader in this case is me, Dr. Annie, your instructor. You will be telling me what kind of a project you want to do for the rest of the semester, and I will be telling you whether you have my permission to do it. I will be especially concerned about whether the topic for your project is feasible, by which I mean possible or doable, considering what the remaining assignments require and who the audiences for those assignments will be. Your project proposal will be about 3 or at most 4 pages long. It'll be written as a memo from you to me and will be formatted in block style. If it's not formatted in block style, I won't read it, so look again, if necessary, at the links describing block style. It's a very common business formatting style. Your content will need to convince your reader, again, that's me, that your topic is feasible, meaning it will work for the remaining assignments. Before you choose a topic, then, you have to read the written descriptions of assignments 4, 5, and 6 so that you'll know what you're going to have to produce on this topic for your semester project. I'll have more to say about good topics in the next few slides. Perhaps obviously, choosing your topic is the first thing to work on after reading all the assignments. Here are some possible sources of ideas. Work, school, communities of various kinds, and hobbies or interests are all good places to start thinking about topics, especially about something you find unsatisfactory in one of those areas. Most good topics identify a problem of minor proportions, not world hunger, for example, but instead, possibly, how to get food to hungry members of a specific small population, and then go about showing how to solve it. Note that the topic is supposed to be technical or scientific, given that this course is teaching you about technical writing. But I do interpret the word technical fairly broadly, as the next slide explains. You may not think that knitting is technical, for example, but it is. If you're interested in knitting, maybe you'd like to organize a group of people to knit sweaters for the homeless, for example. You could write instructions for a basic knitting stitch, not the whole sweater. That would be too complicated. You could then produce an infographic publicizing your idea in your neighborhood, on campus, or a church, temple, or mosque in order to get people interested in your group. You would then write a white paper that could be distributed to people at the locale of your choice or published on a website. The white paper would report on research about homelessness and the need for clothing, especially locally, and convince readers that even those who can't already knit could learn how and then participate in a good project. The assignment document describes a neighborhood association project, and I have samples of a dog park project available on Blackboard. Projects that are more scientific and that have worked well in past semesters include these. Immunizations, with instructions for giving an injection, an infographic to persuade parents to immunize their children, and a white paper discussing the research on immunizations and reasons people either support or reject them. Sleep deprivation, especially among college students, with instructions for relaxation exercises, an infographic pointing out the severity of the problem among college students and its effects on their grades, for example, and a white paper discussing the research and encouraging students to get more sleep. Water quality, including instructions for testing water for contaminants or installing a faucet filter, an infographic about the quality of water at a specific location and the effects of contaminants, and a white paper about the necessity of clean water and how to be sure water is safe to drink. I've gone on at some length here and in the written version of the assignment about the instructional materials assignment. Students often propose topics that are too complicated, too abstract, or too general, and thus not even instructional at all. You must propose instructions for a very simple task that is on the larger topic you're writing about. Please read the assignment carefully and propose a topic for the instructions that, first, is concrete, second, is fairly simple, and third, can be carried out by an individual in 30 to 60 minutes or even less. The assignment requires you to test your instructions with 2 to 4 users. If your topic is something that your family members could not possibly carry out while you watch in your basement, or that friends could not carry out in an appropriately limited space, find another topic. Now's a good time to stress the fact that you need not only a feasible project, but also realistic audiences and goals for your project. Here's a table listing topics that students sometimes attempt and that typically don't work for various reasons. First topic, fixing parking at Wayne State. Trust me, it's been tried. I discourage this topic entirely, although a related topic, such as providing better shuttle services, borders on the feasible. I still don't recommend it. Ending world hunger. The problem here is, first, the scope. You can't end world hunger in a semester. And second, the audience. You can't specify the world or the government or even the governor as a realistic audience. You could, though, organize a group of people to deal with hunger issues in your own neighborhood or religious organization or in the Wayne State area. Banning smoking everywhere. Again, the problem is scope. A better way to use smoking as a topic would be to encourage smokers to quit, provide instructions for using a stop smoking aid, an infographic to persuade people to do so, and a white paper on the research that encourages quitting. I hope you're getting the idea about feasibility for your topic idea for this assignment. The feasibility survey that you'll complete, if you're wise, will give you a good idea about the feasibility of your topic, and you can take it as many times as you want until you demonstrate to your own satisfaction that the topic you have in mind will work. I'll read your responses to the survey and provide suggestions as well, as long as you complete it on time. As for your audience, or readers, as I've noted twice now, I am the reader of your proposal. But I want you to think of other people to carry out your instructions, notice your infographic, and read your white paper. Furthermore, you need to think of both primary and secondary audiences for the infographic and white paper. As your assignment explains, a primary audience is composed of people who make decisions about your idea, possibly commissioning other people to carry out their decisions. Those other people are called implementers, and they're the secondary audience for your infographic and white paper. The assignment explains the primary and secondary audiences for my dog park proposal. If you're confused on this point, look up primary and secondary audiences in your handbook. As to the document itself, the first section of your proposal, after the summary style introduction, see the samples on Blackboard. will describe your project's most important details, answering the what, why, and how questions of your proposal audience. Again, me, briefly. Here's the topic section for my dog park project proposal. The whole proposal is available on Blackboard as a model for you to look at. Note that it begins with a short but persuasive description of the topic I want to work on and why, and then provides a short paragraph describing each of the next assignments I'll produce. That's the answer to the how question. In addition to the model and other sample proposals, I provide additional PowerPoint presentations on writing the topic description paragraph on Blackboard, which I strongly recommend you watch or at least read. Choosing a topic was first. Now we come to second, third, and fourth. So, second, as you develop your topic, you'll need to write a set of formal research questions that you will put into your project proposal assignment. I provide a PowerPoint presentation on Blackboard that tells you how to go about generating these questions and exactly how you must format them. So be sure to consult that presentation. On the screen now is a picture of the research questions portion of my dog park model. Yours should look just like this one, so again, check the model on Blackboard. Third, your proposal is a written plan for your work for the rest of the semester. After you describe what your topic will be in the topic paragraph and explain your research questions, you will then describe in the plan section the other assignments you'll produce for the rest of the semester on this topic. And then you will provide a formatted graphic timeline. I've provided some links to templates, but you can format your own if you wish. The timeline is not just a list of dates. Because technical communication makes frequent use of tables and images, you must learn to provide and insert a graphic into a document. Here's a picture of the timeline from the dog park model. Fourth, you must state a realistic goal for making your work public, what the assignment refers to as publishing your work. You must have a realistic plan for making both the white paper and the infographic, which you will format into your final white paper, available to a group of readers. You may suggest publication venues such as the following: a community newsletter, a community newspaper, a website, perhaps a blog. Those are the most likely options for publication. You may not suggest unrealistic publications such as the Free Press, the Journal of the American Medical Association, the Atlantic Monthly, or such high-level impossible publications. You'll see that I've suggested a local venue, the Ferndale Friends newspaper, for my dog park research. I've published a lot of articles and even one book so far, but I would not presume that I could get published in the Free Press, especially if I'm writing about something very specific to Ferndale. So be realistic, even if you don't think you'll actually try to publish your work after the semester is over. You could consider it though, especially if I give you an A on the white paper. Here's a list of the sections I expect to see in your block formatted proposal memo. If your proposal doesn't look like a memo and doesn't strongly resemble the samples I've put on Blackboard, for example, if you write a letter or an essay, I won't read it. I'll just send it back to you with a message that you need to pay attention to the requirements of the assignment. You'll provide an introduction right after the to from section of the memo, without any heading saying introduction as it's obvious what it is. You'll then provide the project topic paragraph with a heading, a research question section with a heading, and a timeline section with a heading. On a final separate page titled Sources, you'll list in MLA style 3 sources you've either used already or expect to use. Here's a point on which students often get confused, so I'm going to mention it one more time and provide a graphic illustration. You're going to describe in your research questions section what kind of primary and secondary sources you will be using for your work. A primary source is a person or group of people you make first-hand contact with. That's why it's called primary. through interviews, email, a survey or questionnaire, and so on. A secondary source is a previously published piece of work such as an article in a magazine, a book, or information from the internet. Don't mix your sources up with your audiences. That's the tricky part. You do need both primary and secondary audiences for your work, but they're your readers, not your sources. Look back at slide number 8 or page 2 of the written description of the assignment for an explanation of primary and secondary audiences. Or check your handbook. That's it for now, but be sure to use the other resources I've mentioned in this presentation, including the feasibility survey and the presentations on the topic paragraph and research questions. When the time comes, remember, you'll submit your draft by email by the deadline of 11:59 p.m. on the due dates. Now get going on that proposal draft.